Hey guys, I just thought I'd make another video just to show some of the cool stuff I've been working on in ACF. I made this tank maybe a couple weeks ago, and honestly, it's probably the best tank I've made. I mean, it's not super good. Well, I guess it's not the best tank I made, but it's definitely the best, like, performing, like, as in, like, road speed and traversability tank I've made. Anyway, basically it all started, I wanted to make like a vehicle kind of like the Ripsaw off-road vehicle that there's always like YouTube videos. I came up with this 18-liter V8 petrol engine. It's super speedy. That thing up on that was really lame, but whatever. That thing up on the front, there's a PHX block there. That's actually a counterweight because this thing takes off with so much torque that it actually will lift the front end up, and it has trouble driving. Like, see that hill over there? This thing will just climb up that hill like nothing. Insane quantity of torque. It uses the CVT transmission. I hit it going a little fast, so it didn't make it, but let's try this again. Hang on. It uses a CVT transmission, so that means continuous variable transmission. It means basically it's unlimited gears. It just tries to keep the engine at certain RPM all the time. Anyway, you get the idea. I could make it up there if I was paying more attention, but that's not what I'm making this video about. Once I made this, I decided, hey, I can make other vehicles on this same chassis. And, first I came up with the FAV. This is actually really crappy. I didn't even paint it because it's not that nice. It's only got like 20 millimeters of armor. Really basic design. 20 millimeter rotary autocannon. Same engine, so it's a little bit slower than this. And then I also came up with this baby. This is, I don't know quite what to call it, but it's definitely a medium tank. I had to replace the 18-liter V8 petrol with this V12 21-liter diesel. I think this is yeah, because I needed more torque. This thing weighs about 45 tons, but if you notice, it's got a lot of crazy sloping on it, which I'm actually pretty proud of because this was kind of difficult to set up and I ran into a lot of problems. But this is like an insane slope. Let's check what the armor value is. We've got an armor of 100 millimeters on this, and when it's sloped like that, the effective armor is way higher than that. Like, it's in the 200s somewhere. Uh, but since it is only 100 millimeters, it can't, like, it'll take a hit from a 120 millimeter tank gun, but it won't take too many because this plate will just fall off of there. It doesn't have very high health. Then these bottom plates are actually 120 millimeters, since the sloping is a little bit different. I don't want a shell to go through the lower glacis either. These down here are only 50 because they're just going to go under. I got a little lazy down here because my CVT transmission was actually sticking through the bottom of the tank, unfortunately. So I just kind of stuck this plate down here just in case. But the odds of anyone hitting that from the front are pretty low. I think if they're hitting that, I have a problem. Same with the engine block. It's below here. I didn't really fill it in just because I didn't want to handle the weight. I like to build my stuff with function over form a little bit. I've got a 40 millimeters of spaced armor. It's kind of like the IS-3 in World of Tanks, and in real life, of course, it's got this nice slope spaced armor, only 40 millimeters, 20 millimeters going over the track, and then it has 90 millimeters right on the side of the tank. So if a shell comes in like this, it's going to have to go through this 40 millimeter plate at a strong angle, then it'll have to go through this 90 millimeter plate at a strong angle. So that's pretty good. The front of the turret's 200 millimeters. It's pretty flat, so people could definitely penetrate that, but ammo is only stored on one side of the turret, so there's not much in the turret to actually hit. And that's not all the ammo, most of it's actually in the hull. Now we've got 250 millimeters right around the mantlet, though there isn't a true mantlet, it's just one plate. Then we've got 50 millimeters right above, but look at the sloping on that. That's pretty crazy sloping, and if it penetrates there, who cares? And then we've got another 100 millimeters of armor right on the sides, but this is insane sloping. So this is like, if you calculate it, I think it comes out to over 300 millimeters of effective armor if you hit it like straight on like this. Uh, it's the these little pieces on the turret are only 50 because I mean someone could aim for that ostensibly, but they're probably not going to. So it's mainly just to fill in the turret so there's not big holes in it. Sides of the turret I think are 80. This is probably, oops, this is 82 I guess. Then we've got these little pieces that stick up, they're all 80. We've got another little tiny, this actually isn't spaced armor right here, this is kind of a major weak spot, it's only 50 millimeters. A shot could potentially penetrate there, but that's kind of hard to hit. It's just a long strip there. The back's 40 millimeters. Pretty much everywhere on the back is 40 millimeters. But this is the exact same chassis as our BuzzSaw over here, but it's on a tank with a bigger engine. So I had to change the CVT transmission again a little bit. And these are 100 millimeters in case someone fires a shot and it goes through the wheel here. And then we've got a 90 millimeter plate here just for a little added protection, because once you get past that, you're inside the cab. And this is just, this is just a crappy box to protect my wire stuff. This actually isn't even that well armored, but I figure if my entire front is gone, I'm not going to stand much of a chance anyway. It only has a 100 millimeter cannon, just for weight issues and the size of the turret. But the turret is shaped pretty well, so I do get decent gun depression. A serious issue with my tanks is gun depression. So we'll check out the first S-prop tank I ever made. Let's see if I can... wait, this is it. I made a new version that works better. I think it's this one. See, look at the gun depression on this tank. 100 millimeter autoloader fit into this turret. This is an extremely small tank. I think it has 2 degrees of gun depression, maybe 3. Extremely small turret. Crazy sloping on the frontal armor though, 90 millimeters. Slope back like that. This thing bounces pretty much any gun that's equivalent to its own gun. So that's pretty crazy. The main problem with this tank is the entire inside is filled with ammunition. So if you get penetrated, you're probably gonna die. Anyway, back to this tank. I guess I've showed you all the armor layout. Let's see how it performs. The gun kind of falls a little bit. This uses Nick's, one of Nick's newer variants of his, Nick is Sir Daubers, by the way, turret chips. Do you notice the turret does turn, like, slower? You might not be able to hear the sound because I have it turned way down. So you can dial in how fast you want the turret to elevate and turn, and then it's got a GPU display, reloading, gear. This doesn't have gear obviously because it's a CVT transmission. This is a little bit wonky just because all the wheels are mixed spherical, which doesn't always work with tanks, but now you can witness the power of the CVT transmission. Watch this. I couldn't believe this. When I went up the big ramp on free space, I couldn't believe I just made it right up there. See, since I have unlimited gear ratios, my lowest gears can be extremely low, which gives my engine plenty of torque to even climb up extreme gradients. I could probably make it up even steeper ones than that. Let's see. This is gonna be a little bit glitchy because you're not really supposed to drive down really steep stuff like that. That's an issue with the turret. Let's go up this one right in the middle. Let's see if we'll make it up here. So this is, like, most tanks that have, like, preset gears would have a lot of trouble making it up something like this. A little bit of trouble just because we have to turn. The skid steering doesn't like it. This tank cannot turn in place. I didn't have enough room for all this. I just didn't want to bother with it. It turns well enough on one side, so there are some issues with turning. This tank is pretty fast in a straight line. It's one of my faster tanks. You can see the speed, but it's in Gary units. I don't remember how those actually compare. It'll accelerate to, I think, around 700 Gary units, but it takes a while. The gun has an incredible amount of kickback due to the actual weight of the tank compared to the parents and props. which is sort of an issue. You see it's kind of bouncing around everywhere, but that's just because the way mixed turret chip works. It's pretty stable now that I'm driving in a straight line. It's actually very stable. I can easily fire on the roof. Let's see if we can line up a shot on something. Let's see here. Easily make it around that corner. There's no like legit brake, so I'm just kind of tapping reverse right now to slow down, and then I can lock my weld latches in place. Take aim on a target. I guess I'll fire at the FAV over there. That was a direct hit. My camera just completely screwed up for some reason. But yeah, it just blew up. I have no idea what just happened to my camera. Hopefully, I think I accidentally... Okay, it looks fine. So you can zoom in with shift, but something really weird happened there. Yeah, I just hit that thing directly from considerable range, so his chip is very accurate. But it is a little bouncy with this turret and the gun layout that I have on this tank. Yeah, anyway, I didn't really show that much of the mobility of this tank. I guess we can drive around if anyone's still watching, just to see what else we can climb over. See, the key here is this tank can go as low as 0.01 on its gear because of the CVT transmission, and it can basically go as high as 1. But it's not going to go as high as 1. I think the final drive is 0.7. The final drive on the CVT, since you have unlimited gear ratios, doesn't really matter. All my cars that use CVT just have it set to 1, so you can just set it to whatever. Basically, how I have it set up is it just takes the speed, and then it just literally divides the speed by some arbitrary number I figure out by testing, and then that's my CVT ratio, which is what gets output into the transmission. And then reverse on the CVT is just a separate gear you have to set up, like 0.1 or something. It doesn't actually work with the CVT, at least as far as I know. I don't know if the negatives work, I don't remember testing them. But yeah, I just drove straight up there. Like, a lot of tanks are going to get that thing where you start going up a hill, and then you realize you don't have enough torque, and you just go down backwards. But since I can go all the way into 0.01, and I can do it smoothly without spazzing out with the CVT transmission, I can basically go over any obstacle. Well, I tried to go up this ramp over here, but it does not make it up that gradient on that terrain. I think the slipability on the grass is too bad for these wheels to go up that. Anyway, I can't really think of anything else to say. It's never going to make it up here, but let's see what it does. Oops. Oh my god, my gun just blocked the thing. That's just an issue that needs to be resolved. This tank has never actually been used in a fight before against any other tank, so I don't know how it would do. I think it would do decently well, because the biggest issue with stuff like that is the gun has problems aiming. So as long as I can hit shots and keep my front end pointed relatively towards him, I think I'd be fine. I've tested this and it has bounced 120mm tank guns. 140 would probably just blow that 100mm plate right off the front. It's not strong enough. But this tank only has a 100mm gun. It shouldn't be going up directly against tanks with 140mm guns, at least not in a slugging match. The 120mm gun, it took 2 direct hits, and I believe the third blew the plate off just because each shot damaged it so much. The health is really low since it's only 100mm. Anyway, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show how this tank works, the power of the CVT transmission, and with passability over terrain, because this is pretty crazy. None of the other tanks that had normal transmissions could have done this. And also, the slope down was pretty good, I guess. Anyway, have fun building.